and take yours out of your mouth for 1 second. And can you read the brand and what strength it is?
It's a Rico 2.5.
Yeah, Rico 2.5. Mine's a 3.5, but anywhere from a 2 to a 2.5 is a really good strength for a beginner.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and soak that.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you can also, not a lot of people do this too, but not only can you soak the tip of the reed, but you can also soak the butt or the end of the reed.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you just make sure. So we're going to talk about assembly of the clarinet. I like to build from the bottom up, but there's really no right or wrong way to do it. So making sure that your case is right side up, we're going to start with the bell.
Mm-hmm.
You can hold the bell in either of your hands. Next, we're going to take the lower joint, which is the bigger one.
Okay,
yep,
thanks.
No problem. The cork goes on the bottom side and just twist it in. Make sure that as you're doing it, I like to cover the tone holes when I'm sliding it in, so that way I'm not putting any pressure on any of the keys.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right, so you have your bell and your lower joint.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing you're going to do is take your upper joint,
Mm-hmm.
hold it this way so that the 4 of these keys are pointing down. And the big thing that we're going to look for is making sure that we line up this part with this part right here. This connects the upper and the lower joints. And once you twist it in, you want to make sure that those 2 sides are lined up. Yeah, perfect. So then, just to double check, if you press any of these lower tone holes with your right hand, those 2 should be able to lift up and down. Perfect. So now that we've got our bell, our lower joint, and our upper joint, next we're going to take the barrel. One end of the barrel is slightly wider, and that will just twist in. And then lastly, we have the mouthpiece. We're just going to twist that in too. Now we can take our reed again, grab my tuner, and we'll talk about where the reed should line up on the mouthpiece. When you have the reed, the tip is going to go toward the top. There's this little opening, and what you want to do is take your ligature off, put the reed on, and I like to see just a little bit of black or a little bit of horizon on the reed. Yep, perfect. Once you have that, take your ligature. The screw side should always go on the right. Line it up, and what I like to do is see that line right there? I like to line my ligature up so that the top is just underneath that line that distinguishes that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so go ahead and twist it. Don't twist it all the way, because if you twist it all the way, you'll close off the reed and it won't be able to vibrate. But if you just leave a little bit, perfect. Now what we're going to do, since we have the whole thing assembled, is actually take off just the mouthpiece and the barrel. You can lay the rest of the clarinet just down on your lap, and we're looking for this sound. You can hold it in your dominant hand or whatever's more comfortable. And what you want to do is your top teeth will be on the top of the mouthpiece like that, and your bottom teeth will not touch the reed, but you'll want to make sure that your tongue is not at the very, very tip of the reed, but almost to the edge of the reed, and we're looking for this sound. You want to go ahead and give that a try? Wow, that's actually a really good sound. Try that one more time. They have this kind of trick that with the mouthpiece and the barrel, you should be able to play a concert F sharp. So I have my tuner out. We'll see how close I am. Go ahead and play. Cool. So that's the sound that you want. From there, we can go ahead and put our clarinet back together. So we'll take the barrel, we'll slightly twist it on, and we will go ahead and talk about posture and preparing to play. There's really 5 main steps when we prepare to play. The first thing we want to do is sit up straight and be at the edge of the chair. If we're sitting kind of all the way back, then our posture will be a little more down than we want. You want to keep your thumb rest straight. So that's this part. Your right hand holds the bottom, so place your right thumb underneath the thumb rest, just like that. You want to be careful that your thumb doesn't slide too much like an inverse. I don't have one of those hitchhiker thumbs, but some people do. Yep, perfect. Step 3 is to hold your clarinet directly in front of you and keep the bell in between your knees. You want to watch your angle so that it doesn't come all the way out, but you also don't want it in. So a good way is kind of like a 45 degree where the bell is right there. Yep, that looks good. This is a big one. Make sure that you curve your fingers on both hands. The clarinet is one that has open tone holes, so if you've had any experience playing the flute or the sax, there's not a lot of holes that you need to cover. But by making sure your fingers are curved, which I can check, the ring finger is the one you definitely want to watch.
I just have big fingers.
You're very lucky because I don't. But yeah, just making sure all that. And it's your elbow should be away from your body, but what they mean by that is that they just shouldn't be touching your sides. They should be slightly out from your sides. Cool. That looks really good. So, a couple other things with airflow and embouchure, you were able to produce a really nice sound with the mouthpiece and the barrel. The way that I was taught is kind of to think about saying he, t. Those are the two kind of sounds we want. So with airflow, so just kind of repeat after me. To start a note, you want to go and then yeah, so that's the kind of airflow that you want to produce. In terms of the embouchure shape, I'll have you just play an open G to demonstrate. So no fingers will be off. You'll just have your thumb. You still want to keep your fingers nice and close, though, so you don't want to press down on it, but you don't need your fingers way out here. Your embouchure, Dr. Engelstad uses a PU technique. So you start out by saying P, so that your corners are in. P and then P U. Yeah. So if you say P U, that kind of pulls the shape that you want. You'll put it over. You're good.
I can't do it.
Alright, so one of the things I'm noticing is that you're looking down into it. Go ahead and just kind of point your air stream up. You're good. Cool. So just go back to the mouthpiece in the barrel and recreate that sound again. Yeah, you have that sound, so go ahead and put it back on. And without thinking about it too much, make sure your thumb is off too. Are all your fingers off? Yeah. Drop your jaw a little bit.
I don't know which way you want me to drop it.
No. So let's see what else. What did you do that time?
All my fingers.
Oh. Maybe try a different. Yeah, maybe try just try a thumb and one maybe.
Do I have to put more of the mouthpiece in?
Yeah, maybe try a little more mouthpiece. Oh, your bottom lip is rolled in a little bit, and you don't want that. You want a nice, firm chin. So make sure your bottom lip. Oh, did you hear it almost come? No, you're good. See if you can. Here, watch me, because your top teeth are on, right? Your bottom lip, instead of rolled back like that, which I see a little bit, see if it can just cushion. And almost, don't think roll out, but there's no need to roll in. Try a couple more fingers. Yeah, you had it.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I sound like a goose.
It's your first time. Yeah, that's really good. So, let's see if we can apply some of this. Yeah. So the very first, this is a book called Standard of Excellence. It's a really good book to start on. And maybe we'll see if by the end we can try duet. Whatever air you're using too, use way more air than you think you need. So that's where that he-t comes in, because if you think and you really try to push your air all the way, but did you hear at the end you did get that lower partial? So the first note that this has you learn is an E, which is a good idea. So just think thumb and first finger. Maybe even a little more mouthpiece, and make sure that your tongue too is on the very tip of the reed. So just see if you can get. Yeah, that's it. Do you realize? Do you know what you're doing any differently?
I just supported myself more.
Yeah, cool. Also, can I see your reed a little bit? we'll see if maybe that is one thing. I'm moving your reed up a little bit more, and we'll see if that changes anything or not. Your reed also doesn't have that nice line that mine has, so that could also be a thing. And what I'm doing is I'm keeping your screws a little bit looser because it might allow a little more freedom to vibrate. But you did get that lower partial. Probably. Try it now.
Yeah. Your mouthpiece is like curved a lot nicer than this one.
That is true too. My mouthpiece it's kind of gross, but it has a pad, and that kind of helps your tooth. But did you hear you got it now? Cool. So
I still can't do the omen.
try. Are your teeth even? Your top two teeth? There you go. You did have it. There you go. I'm not sure about the open D, so I'll have to try to look at that a little bit better. Let's try this time for band exercise and see whatever happens. I know that you've done music in the past and you know 4/4 and everything, so see if you can hold it for 4 beats. Whatever happens. We can even do it together, and then we'll rest, and then maybe I'll have you just do one. But let's try a time for band. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2. A little more mouthpiece. Go. Good. 2. Really support. Yeah, it is speaking though.
Yeah.
It could be the reed and everything. Yeah, that's pretty good. Is your reed as moist as it could be?
Probably not the bottom a lot, but the top is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, reed placement is huge too. If it's too high, if it's too low, if it's too hard, if it's too soft, a lot of the notes won't come out. Maybe let's try learning one more note, maybe 1 or 2. So D is the next note, so it's your thumb and then first and second finger. Go ahead. Are you hitting the octave key? Yeah, you don't need that key.
This one?
Yeah, you don't need that one. Your first finger? Yep, try that.
I can't breathe like the whole way.
That's fair. There you go. Yeah, that's D. Yeah, you got it.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's definitely coming. What are you doing anything differently?
I'm looking down at it.
That's okay, about it. I guess that might help then. And a good metaphor too is that the airstream shoots all the way down, whereas in a flute or a sax, anything with a mouthpiece, our mouthpiece allows the air to go straight down, which is hard. With a flute, you're blowing straight across. With a sax or a bass clarinet, you're blowing straight into it. But with a clarinet, all your air, even though we want to send it out, the majority of it is going straight down into this tiny little hole. Another thing that's helpful is thinking about your airstream being as powerful and as fast as a dart to a bullseye. So you need lots of air because you want to make it go fast, but that's where that
yeah,
because you want to kind of shoot it like that. But yeah, you got 2 notes out, which is really, really good. Do you want to try to learn one more, and then we can talk about disassembling?
Yeah.
Cool. So C is the last note for the kind of hot cross buns kind of thing. So it's going to be your thumb, your first finger, your second finger, and your third finger. You want to make sure to, sometimes your first finger's a little curved, and you're not covering the tone hole all the way. Try it.
Is that the note?
Yeah, that's the note.